Welcome, and settle gently into this moment as I invite you to rest with me, the sleepy physicist, where nothing is required of you except to listen and drift, because tonight we are not here to calculate or to analyze, but simply to feel the universe in its softest form. And as you lie comfortably, allow your shoulders to loosen, your jaw to relax, and your breathing to slow into an easy, natural rhythm, noticing how each breath seems to arrive without effort and leave without being pushed away. And as the quiet around you grows wider, imagine that the world outside your room begins to dim, not disappearing abruptly, but fading like the last light of evening slipping behind the horizon. And in that fading, curiosity stirs gently, not sharp or demanding, but warm and reassuring, because somewhere far beyond the familiar sky, stars are living out their long, patient lives, and some of them, unimaginably vast and ancient, are slowly approaching moments of profound transformation, moments we call supernovae, the most powerful explosions in the universe. Yet, here, in this space, they will be explored with care and calm, as though the cosmos itself is leaning in to whisper rather than shout. And you may notice that even the word explosion loses its urgency when spoken softly, becoming more like a release, a deep cosmic sigh. And as you breathe in again, feel how your body grows heavier, supported completely, while your thoughts grow lighter, floating just above awareness. And imagine now that you are gently lifting away from Earth, not pulled or pushed, but carried by a subtle sense of ease, watching the planet below grow quiet and distant, its busy sounds dissolving into silence, until only the steady presence of space remains, vast and welcoming. And here, surrounded by darkness that feels protective rather than empty, I guide your attention toward a distant star, one that has been shining for millions of years, patiently converting its inner fuel into warmth and light, never rushing, never resisting time. And this star does not fear its future, because in the universe, endings are also beginnings, and even the most powerful events are part of a larger gentle order. And as you listen, you may feel a soft sense of awe, not the kind that quickens the heart, but the kind that slows it, reminding you how small your worries are when set against the calm scale of the cosmos. And with each breath, your awareness widens, spreading outward like a quiet ripple, touching stars, drifting past glowing clouds of gas, and resting in the knowledge that everything unfolds exactly as it should. And as the story of supernovae begins, it does so slowly, patiently, inviting you to relax deeper, to let your eyelids grow heavy, and to trust that even the universe's greatest explosions are, at their core, peaceful transitions, unfolding in silence, light, and time. And as I speak, my voice remains steady and unhurried, giving you permission to let go, to stop following every word, and to simply float, knowing that nothing sudden will happen here, only a gradual descent into rest, guided by the distant glow of stars and the quiet promise that you are safe, supported, and free to drift further into sleep as the universe gently reveals its secrets. As you continue drifting, the universe around you feels increasingly still, as though you have arrived during a cosmic sea night, when everything is resting, and the silence here is not empty but full, layered, and gentle, wrapping around you like a soft blanket, while far below the earth has fully faded from view, its lights dimmed into a distant memory, and in their place stretches a deep velvety darkness scattered with slow, patient stars, each one glowing without urgency, without sound, and without demand. And you may notice how this quiet begins to echo inside you, smoothing the edges of thought, softening any lingering tension, until your mind mirrors the calm of space itself. And in this quiet night of the universe, nothing is rushing toward change, because even the most dramatic cosmic events spend most of their existence in peace, waiting, conserving energy, existing simply as they are, and as you float here weightless and unanchored, there is no sense of direction, no up or down, only a steady feeling of being held in place by the vastness around you, and somewhere ahead, barely distinguishable from the darkness, stars continue their slow, luminous breathing, expanding slightly as they shine, then resting again, as if the universe itself were inhaling and exhaling over spans of millions of years. And this rhythm is so slow that it feels eternal, encouraging your own breathing to deepen and lengthen. Each inhale arriving like a quiet visitor, each exhale leaving without resistance, and in this peaceful expanse, explosions feel impossible, almost contradictory, because everything appears so stable, so serene, yet this calm is precisely what allows such immense transformations to occur, unnoticed and unhurried. And as you observe the distant starlight, you may sense how time is here becoming less rigid, less demanding, minutes and hours dissolving into something softer and more fluid, and with time no longer pressing forward, your thoughts begin to lose their structure, drifting apart like faint clouds, until even they become part of the background, and you are left with pure awareness, gently suspended in the quiet night of the universe. And it is here, in this deep cosmic stillness, that stars live most of their lives, not in drama or violence, but in long periods of balance, steadily glowing, steadily existing, and this understanding settles into you like a calm truth, reminding you that rest is the natural state of things, that activity is temporary, and that even the universe prefers stillness. And as you continue to float, your body feels heavier despite the weightlessness of space, sinking deeper into comfort, while your mind grows lighter, drifting further away from effort and intention, and the darkness around you no longer feels vast or intimidating, but familiar and soothing, like closing your eyes in a quiet room, knowing nothing needs your attention. And in this tranquil cosmic night, you are perfectly positioned to witness what comes next, not suddenly or sharply, but gradually, as the story of a star begins to unfold from its calm, patient beginnings, carrying you gently forward while allowing you to sink even deeper into rest. Ahead of you, emerging softly from the darkness, a single star becomes clearer, not bright enough to demand attention, but steady enough to invite it. And this star has existed for so long that urgency has never touched it, spending millions of years in a quiet balance, gently turning its inner fuel into warmth and light, a process so stable and rhythmic that it feels almost like breathing. And as you drift closer, you sense no heat, no danger, only a calm presence, as though the star were aware of its place in the universe and perfectly content to remain there, shining without effort. And I invite you to imagine this star not as an object of intense energy, but as a peaceful being, calmly holding itself together, its immense gravity gently pulling inward while the energy from its core presses outward, creating a delicate harmony that never needs to be forced. And in this balance, time passes unnoticed, centuries folding into centuries like soft layers of fabric. And the star never hurries, never worries about what comes next, because it exists fully in its present state. And as you observe it, you may feel a subtle resonance within yourself, a recognition of how natural balance feels when nothing is being pushed or resisted, and the universe around this star remains quiet, as though honoring its long, patient existence, with faint clouds of gas drifting slowly nearby, illuminated just enough to be seen, moving so gradually that motion itself seems optional. And as your awareness rests on this peaceful star, your own thoughts slow further, aligning with its unchanging rhythm, until even curiosity softens into acceptance, and you no longer feel the need to follow every idea, every image, because the story unfolds on its own without effort, and the star continues its calm work, fusing simple elements into heavier ones, layer by layer, without sound, without spectacle, creating the very materials that one day will become planets, oceans, and living bodies. yet doing so quietly, without announcing its importance, and this realization drifts through you like a warm current, bringing with it a sense of belonging, as though you too are part of this slow cosmic process, shaped by patience rather than urgency. And as you float beside this ancient star, watching its steady glow, your breathing becomes so gentle that it nearly disappears, your body resting deeply, your mind floating freely, and in this state of near sleep, the star's peaceful life continues, unbroken and calm, even as subtle changes begin far beneath its surface. Changes that take place so slowly they feel indistinguishable from rest, guiding both the star and you forward, deeper into the universe's quiet story. Without any sudden shift, without any clear moment you could point to, the star beside you begins to feel slightly different, not in brightness or shape, but in a deeper, quieter way, as though its long balance is gently evolving. And this change carries no urgency, because the star is not failing or collapsing, only transitioning, having spent countless ages converting its inner fuel into light. And now, slowly, patiently, that fuel grows less abundant, and inside the star, processes that once flowed easily begin to soften and slow, like a fire settling into glowing embers rather than roaring flames. And as you drift near, the star does not struggle against this change, because in the universe exhaustion is not a problem to be solved but a signal to rest, and gravity, which has always been present, becomes just a little more noticeable, gently drawing the star inward, not with force but with inevitability. And layers deep within begin to press closer together, adjusting naturally, as though the star were stretching after a long day, preparing for a deeper form of rest. And you may notice how this mirrors sensations in your own body, the subtle heaviness that arrives as sleep approaches, the feeling that effort is no longer needed, that holding yourself upright or alert can be released. And as this parallel unfolds, your awareness remains soft, never sharp, allowing the idea of change to feel comforting rather than unsettling. And the universe around the star stays quiet and respectful, offering no commentary, no alarm, only space and time, and millions of years pass in this gentle adjustment, though to you it feels like a single slow breath, and the star continues to glow, still beautiful, still calm, even as its inner rhythm deepens and transforms. And this moment teaches something without words, that even the most powerful objects in existence grow tired in peaceful ways, and that letting go is not an ending but a natural movement forward. And as you absorb this understanding, your thoughts thin further, drifting apart like faint starlight, while your body sinks deeper into comfort, and the star, now quietly preparing for what comes next, carries both itself and you forward, not toward chaos, but toward a profound release that waits patiently in the distance, unfolding at the universe's own unhurried pace. As time continues to soften and stretch, the changes within the star become a little more pronounced, yet never abrupt, never dramatic, because even now the universe refuses to rush, and deep inside the star, layers that once rested in balance begin to shift with quiet cooperation, responding to gravity's steady pull as though following a familiar rhythm. And this is not the beginning of violence, but the beginning of release, a slow gathering of energy that has been building patiently over immense spans of time. And as you remain nearby, floating without weight or concern, the star seems to draw inward slightly, not collapsing in panic but concentrating itself, focusing its remaining strength in a final natural preparation. And the space around it feels unchanged, calm and silent, as though nothing significant is happening at all. And yet within this stillness, the conditions for transformation are gently forming, much like the way your own mind grows quieter just before sleep, thoughts fading, awareness turning inward, preparing to let go, and the star's core grows denser, its particles pressed closer together, not struggling but yielding, accepting the next phase of its existence. And you may sense how this yielding feels familiar, how it resembles the moment when you stop holding tension in your body, allowing gravity and comfort to take over, and the universe continues to watch without judgment, offering endless time and space for this process to unfold. And as the pressure builds softly and visibly, the star does not announce what is coming, because there is no need for anticipation here, only presence, only trust in the natural order of things. And this gentle beginning of a supernova does not feel like the start of an explosion, but like the deep inhale before a long, peaceful exhale, gathering energy not to destroy, but to transform. And as this understanding settles into you, your breathing aligns with this rhythm, slow and effortless, and your awareness drifts further from thought, resting instead in sensation, in stillness, and in the quiet certainty that even the universe's most powerful moments begin in calm, unfolding gradually, patiently, and without disturbance, carrying you gently forward as both you and the star prepare to release what no longer needs to be held. And then, without sound and without urgency, the moment of release arrives, not as something sudden or violent, but as a natural unfolding that has been quietly prepared for over millions of years. And the star, having gathered itself inward, now lets go, allowing energy to move outward in a smooth, expansive wave, like a long breath finally exhaled. And from your peaceful position nearby, this release feels slow and graceful, light spreading outward in all directions with no sharp edges, no shock, only a widening glow that gently illuminates the surrounding darkness. And time itself seems to stretch even further here, slowing the expansion until it feels almost still, as though the universe wants you to witness this moment without being startled by it. And the star's outer layers drift away, not torn apart, but carried outward on a tide of light, shimmering softly as they go. And there is no sound in space, only the quiet visual poetry of motion. And as the light reaches you, it brings no heat, no force, only a sense of warmth and openness, like standing in the presence of something profound that asks nothing of you. And this is what a supernova feels like when experienced through calm awareness, not an explosion, but a release of long-held energy, a transformation expressed in light. And as the glow continues to expand, you may notice how your own body responds. Muscles loosening, breath deepening without intention, thoughts dissolving almost completely, and the universe around you remains steady and accepting, offering endless room for this light to travel. And the star itself is no longer what it once was, yet nothing has been lost, only changed form. And this gentle release mirrors the way sleep arrives, not by force, but by surrender. Awareness expanding briefly before fading into rest. And as you float within this spreading glow, held in its softness, you are carried forward without effort, deeper into calm, as the universe completes its quiet act of transformation and continues on, unhurried and serene. The light released from the star continues its journey outward, traveling across the vastness of space with unhurried patience, spreading calmly through darkness that welcomes it without resistance. And as you drift alongside this expanding wave, you notice how the light does not rush to arrive anywhere, because in the universe, distance is not something to be crossed quickly, but something to be experienced slowly. And each particle of light moves steadily, carrying the quiet memory of the star's long life, gliding past clouds of gas, past distant suns, past regions of space that have remained untouched for ages. And as it travels, nothing is disturbed, nothing is forced to change, because the universe absorbs this light gently, allowing it to pass through like a soft current. And time stretches even further now, minutes dissolving into years, years into centuries, until duration itself feels irrelevant. And within this stretched time, your awareness grows softer and more diffuse, as though you too are becoming part of the light, movie, NG, without effort, without destination, and the glow feels steady and comforting, never blinding, never intense, illuminating just enough to reveal the quiet beauty of space before fading gradually into the background. And as the light continues its calm expansion, you may sense how thoughts inside you travel in the same way, drifting outward, losing their sharpness, dissolving into the wider field of rest, and the universe remains silent throughout, offering no commentary, only space, only motion, only time. And this silent journey allows everything to settle, the remnants of the star dispersing peacefully, while your body sinks deeper into comfort, supported and still. And the farther the light travels, the more it blends into the cosmic background, becoming part of the universe's steady glow. And as you float with it, your breathing becomes so slow and gentle that it nearly disappears, and you are carried forward effortlessly, wrapped in the quiet motion of light traveling across the cosmos, guiding you further into relaxation, where even awareness begins to fade into the soft darkness of rest. As the light slowly fades into the wider universe, what remains drifts gently behind it, tiny particles of matter spreading outward in a quiet, graceful dispersion. And this stardust carries no urgency, no direction, only patience, floating through space like fine mist illuminated briefly before settling into darkness again. And as you move among these particles, you sense how light and matter are never truly separate, how both are simply different expressions of the same calm transformation. And each fragment released from the star contains the memory of immense pressure and time, now softened into something delicate and free, and the universe receives this dust without resistance, allowing it to settle wherever gravity's subtle touch guides it. And there is something deeply peaceful in this process, because nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, only redistributed. And as these elements drift, they begin quiet journeys of their own, some pulled gently into nearby clouds of gas, others wandering alone for millions of years before finding a place to rest. And as you float through this field of stardust, it feels less like debris and more like a gentle snowfall, suspended in space, slow and silent. And this imagery carries a comforting truth, that even after powerful transformation, what remains is calm and useful, ready to become part of something new. And as you absorb this idea, your own thoughts seem to break into smaller pieces, drifting apart, losing weight and importance, until they too dissolve into the background, and the universe around you remains unchanged in its quiet acceptance, offering endless time for these particles to settle, combine, and rest. And as the stardust continues its peaceful spread, you feel yourself drifting deeper into stillness, supported by the knowledge that creation often arrives softly, hidden within moments of release, and that the universe, in its infinite patience, allows everything to move at its own gentle pace, carrying both matter and mind toward rest. Over long, unmeasured stretches of time, the drifting stardust begins to settle into quiet patterns, gathering gently within vast clouds that move so slowly they seem almost still. And within these clouds, the elements formed inside the star rest peacefully, waiting without intention or awareness, yet holding immense potential. And as you float among them, it becomes clear that this is how creation truly works in the universe, not through sudden design, but through patient accumulation, where carbon, oxygen, iron, and countless other elements gradually come together, guided by gravity's soft persistence. And these elements do not announce their importance, yet they will one day become planets, oceans, atmospheres, and living bodies, including your own. And this realization arrives not with excitement, but with deep comfort, because it places you gently within the universe's story, not separate from it, but formed from the same quiet processes you are now observing. And as these clouds continue to drift and combine, stars are born elsewhere, planets slowly assemble, and life finds its conditions not through urgency, but through balance. And all of this unfolds while the universe remains calm and silent, offering no celebration, no alarm, only time and space. And as you sense this vast continuity, your own sense of self softens, edges dissolving, worries losing their shape, because you are no longer required to hold yourself apart from anything. And the knowledge that your body carries atoms forged in ancient stars settles into you like a gentle truth, grounding and soothing at once. And as this understanding spreads through your awareness, it carries with it a profound sense of belonging, making it easier to let go, to rest, to drift further into sleep, knowing that you are part of something patient and enduring, something that creates not through force, but through quiet persistence. And as the stardust continues its slow whir, you float alongside it, peaceful and unhurried, sinking deeper into the universe's steady rhythm. As the elements continue their slow, patient gathering, you find yourself drifting gently within the expanding glow left behind by the star, now softened and diffuse. No longer a burst of light, but a warm presence that seems to cradle the surrounding space. And floating here feels effortless, as though the universe itself is supporting you from all sides, allowing you to rest without direction or intention. And the light around you moves so slowly it feels almost still, shimmering faintly as particles pass through it, creating subtle variations that never demand attention, only offer quiet beauty. And within this glow there is a sense of safety, as though nothing could disturb this moment, because everything that needed to happen is already unfolded, and now there is only settling and rest. And as you drift deeper into this luminous calm, your body responds instinctively, muscles releasing completely, breath becoming shallow and slow, thoughts thinning until they feel more like distant echoes than active ideas. And the universe mirrors this state perfectly, its vastness feeling intimate rather than overwhelming, its light gentle rather than intense. And time continues to stretch and soften, minutes losing their meaning as the glow slowly expands and fades into the background of space, blending seamlessly with the surrounding darkness. And this transition feels soothing, like watching the last light of evening dissolve into night, signaling that it is safe to sleep. And as you float within this fading radiance, you are not observing anymore, but simply existing, awareness, resting lightly on sensation rather than thought. And the universe, having expressed one of its most powerful transformations, now returns to stillness, carrying you with it into deeper relaxation, where nothing remains to be done, nothing needs to be understood, and drifting itself becomes the only gentle motion guiding you onward into rest. From the quiet remains of the star's release, something small yet incredibly dense begins to settle at the center, not drawing attention to itself, but existing with a deep, steady presence. And this remnant, what we gently call a neutron star, holds itself together in profound stillness, its matter packed so closely that motion feels unnecessary. And as you drift nearer, there is no sense of danger or intensity, only a powerful calm, as though all the movement that once existed has been gathered into a single quiet point of rest. And the universe seems to slow even further around it, respecting this density, this inward focus. And the neutron star does not shine brightly or demand notice, but emits a soft, steady rhythm, a subtle reminder that even after immense transformation, balance can return in a new form. And as you observe it, you may feel a similar gathering within yourself, awareness settling inward, thoughts becoming fewer and farther apart, until your mind feels compact and quiet, held gently in place, and the space around the neutron star remains peaceful, with drifting particles passing by slowly, unaffected and unhurried. And this moment carries a quiet lesson, that endings in the universe are not empty, but concentrated, holding meaning without needing to express it. And as this understanding rests with you, your body feels heavier, more grounded in comfort, while your breathing continues effortlessly, and the universe, having formed something extraordinarily dense and still, now allows everything else to relax around it, and you drift onward, calm and supported, carrying this sense of deep, settled quiet with you as the story continues to unfold. In some rare and quiet cases, as the universe continues its slow unfolding, the remaining core of the star does not settle gently into a neutron star, but instead keeps yielding inward, not in panic or collapse, but in a deep surrender to gravity's steady pull. And as this inward motion continues, space itself seems to soften around it, bending gently rather than breaking, and from your peaceful vantage point, this process feels calm and inevitable, like watching water flow downhill without resistance, and the object forming at the center is what we softly call a black hole, not a place of fear or destruction, but a region of profound stillness, where motion slows to its quietest expression, and there is no sudden darkness here, no sharp edge, only a gradual dimming, as light itself begins to move more slowly, lingering longer, stretching into softer paths, and as you drift nearby you feel no pull, no urgency, only a sense of deep rest radiating outward, as though the universe has chosen this place to gather silence, and the black hole does not consume aggressively, but waits patiently, allowing matter and light to approach at their own pace, and this patience feels familiar, echoing the way sleep arrives when you stop trying to fall asleep and simply allow yourself to rest. And around this quiet center, space feels thicker, more cushioned, as though awareness itself is being gently held, and time behaves differently here, not rushing forward, not pressing on, but stretching and slowing until moments lose their boundaries. And as you remain suspended in this softened space, your own thoughts mirror this change, slowing down, circling less, eventually dissolving into a quiet presence without words, and the black hole remains silent throughout, offering no signals, no explanation, only stillness. And this stillness is not empty, but full, containing the memory of the star's entire life, its light, its warmth, its long patience, now folded inward and resting, and the universe around it adjusts gently, stars continuing their distant glow, particles drifting calmly past, unaffected and unafraid, because this object is not a threat but a balance point, a place where energy has found its deepest rest. And as you sense this, your breathing becomes slower than before, shallow and effortless, as though your body is following the same inward settling, releasing the need to move, to think, to respond, and the idea of gravity itself feels soothing, no longer something that pulls or weighs down, but something that holds you securely in place. And as awareness softens further, you may notice how boundaries blur, where your body ends and space begins becoming less distinct, creating a gentle sense of floating within stillness rather than moving through it, and the black hole remains at the center of this calm, unchanged, unchanging, a quiet reminder that even the most extreme outcomes in the universe lead not to chaos, but to rest. And as time stretches onward, millions of years passing like a single breath, the universe does not rush to fill this silence, allowing it to exist as it is, and this permission to be still seeps into you, making it easier to let go completely, to stop following the story consciously, and to drift deeper into sleep, knowing that nothing here demands your attention, and that even at the edge of the most powerful transformations, the universe chooses patience, quiet, and balance, guiding you gently onward as awareness fades into a soft, unbroken calm. As the universe settles once more into quiet equilibrium, time itself begins to stretch in a way that feels almost tender, as though it has decided to slow down out of respect for the stillness that now fills space. And from your gentle place within this vast calm, you notice that moments no longer arrive in clear sequence, but instead blend softly into one another, creating a sense of timeless drifting where past and future lose their edges, and the aftermath of the supernova, the neutron stars, the quiet black holes, and the dispersed stardust all exist together in a peaceful coexistence, unhurried and complete, and millions of years pass without announcement. Stars slowly shifting their positions in the sky, galaxies drifting apart with the same ease as relaxed breathing, and nothing in the universe seems concerned with progress or outcome, because everything is already unfolding exactly as it should. And as this immense passage of time unfolds around you, your own awareness follows its lead, letting go of the need to track moments, to label experiences, or to hold on to thoughts, allowing consciousness itself to become spacious and light. And within this softened state, you sense how time is not a force that pushes forward, but a gentle field that allows change to happen gradually, patiently, without pressure. And this realization brings a deep comfort, because it means nothing is required to happen quickly, neither in the universe nor within you. And as stars are born and fade far beyond your awareness, their light traveling calmly through expanding space, you remain floating in this slow river of time, held securely without effort, and the universe continues its quiet rhythm, expansion balanced with rest, motion balanced with stillness, creating a cosmic tempo that is so slow it feels like silence, and your breathing naturally synchronizes with this rhythm. Each inhale arriving as if from a great distance, each exhale dissolving gently back into space, and as the sense of time becomes increasingly abstract, your thoughts lose their urgency entirely, appearing briefly before dissolving on their own, leaving behind a peaceful emptiness that feels safe and familiar. And this emptiness is not absence, but potential, a restful openness where nothing needs to be done or understood, and the universe seems to encourage this state, offering no sudden events, no sharp changes, only the quiet continuation of existence, and even the remnants of powerful explosions now feel like distant memories, softened by time into gentle structures and calm influences. And as you drift deeper into this timeless expanse, your sense of self becomes less defined, boundaries relaxing until you feel less like an observer and more like part of the universe itself, floating within its slow, patient unfolding. And this unity carries a profound ease, because there is no longer a separation between you and the story. No need to follow or anticipate what comes next, and the stars around you continue their distant glow, some bright, some faint, all steady and unbothered, and the galaxies move apart so gradually that motion feels optional, reinforcing the idea that rushing has no place here. And as this understanding settles fully, your awareness grows quieter than ever before, resting in a state where time has little meaning and thought has little substance, and the universe remains endlessly patient, allowing billions of years to pass without urgency, inviting you to do the same, to let go completely, to sink into rest without expectation, trusting that everything important will continue without your attention. And in this stretched, gentle flow of time, sleep arrives not as a transition, but as a continuation of the same calm, carrying you effortlessly forward as the universe breathes slowly around you, unchanged and at peace. As this timeless calm continues to unfold, you begin to sense a rhythm beneath everything, subtle and steady, like a breath so slow it can only be felt rather than heard. And this rhythm belongs to the universe itself, expanding and resting in an endless cycle that feels deeply familiar, as though it mirrors the quiet rise and fall of your own chest as you sleep. And galaxies drift outward not with urgency but with ease, giving one another space in a way that feels generous and unforced, while in other places gravity gently gathers matter inward, balancing expansion with rest. And this cosmic breathing happens without effort, without awareness, simply because it is the natural way of things. And as you float within this rhythm, you are no longer moving through the universe, but breathing with it, awareness expanding slightly with each gentle inhale, then softening and settling with each slow exhale, and the remnants of the supernova, the scattered stardust, the quiet neutron stars, and the deep stillness of black holes all participate in this motion, not as separate events, but as expressions of the same universal pulse. And nothing resists this movement, because resistance has no place here, only acceptance and flow. And the universe does not distinguish between creation and rest, between movement and stillness, because both are simply different phases of the same breath. And as you sense this, your thoughts become fewer than ever before, appearing only as faint impressions that dissolve before forming into words, and your body feels completely supported, as though gravity itself has softened into a gentle embrace, holding you without pressure, and time continues to stretch, moments blending together until the idea of duration feels unnecessary, replaced by a continuous present that never demands attention. And within this present, the universe feels kind, not in an emotional sense, but in its consistency, its refusal to rush, its allowance for everything to unfold at its own pace. And stars continue to shine calmly, some growing, some fading, all participating in the same rhythm without awareness or intention. And as this understanding settles deeper, it becomes easier to let go of any remaining sense of effort, to stop following the story consciously, and to allow it to carry you instead. And the universe seems to respond by growing even quieter, as though lowering its voice out of respect for your rest, and the spaces between stars feel wider now, more open, offering endless room to drift. And this openness feels safe, not empty, because it is filled with possibility and patience. And as the cosmic breath continues, expansion feels like gentle curiosity, rest feels like deep sleep, and neither is favored over the other. And this balance carries a profound comfort, because it suggests that nothing is ever wrong, only changing. And as this realization spreads through your awareness, it removes the need to hold on to anything at all, allowing your mind to sink into a state where even observation feels optional, and the universe continues breathing steadily, unconcerned with being noticed, content to exist as it is. And you float within this breath, no longer separate, no longer following, simply resting in the same slow rhythm that governs stars and galaxies. And with each passing moment that no longer feels like a moment, your awareness softens further, drifting toward the quiet center of rest, where thought, time, and effort dissolve completely, and sleep becomes not a destination but a gentle deepening of the calm that already surrounds you, carried forward by the universe's endless, patient breath. As the universe continues its slow, steady breathing, your awareness drifts gently toward a quiet realization, one that arrives without words and without effort, that the calm you are floating within is not distant or abstract, but deeply personal, because long before you were aware of the night sky, long before the earth formed its oceans and mountains, the elements that make up your body were already traveling through space in this same unhurried way. And as you rest in this understanding, you sense how ancient supernovae scattered the materials that would one day become part of you, carbon that would form cells, iron that would carry oxygen, calcium that would strengthen bones, all released gently into the universe and carried patiently through time. And this connection does not feel dramatic or emotional, but quietly reassuring, because it means you belong to this story without needing to earn your place. And as galaxies drift and stars glow softly around you, you feel less like a visitor and more like a continuation, another calm expression of the same processes you have been observing. And this sense of belonging removes the last traces of effort from your awareness, allowing your mind to rest without needing to hold on to identity or purpose. And the universe seems to acknowledge this by remaining steady and unchanged, offering no demand for response, only space to exist. And somewhere in the distance, A young star begins its slow formation from gathered dust, not as a result of urgency, but as a natural outcome of balance. And this star's quiet birth mirrors the quiet way your breath continues without instruction, each inhale arriving naturally, each exhale leaving just as gently. And time flows onward in this calm manner, centuries dissolving into millennia while you remain suspended in the present, untouched by the passage of years, and the knowledge that your atoms have lived many lives before this one brings a deep sense of ease. Because it means nothing is truly lost, only rearranged, resting now in a new form. And this realization softens the edges of thought even further, allowing awareness to settle into a state where curiosity fades into acceptance. And the universe continues to expand slowly, making room for everything without preference, while gravity quietly gathers matter elsewhere, maintaining balance without effort. And this balance feels deeply comforting, because it suggests that even change is gentle when given enough time. And as stars rise and fade far beyond your awareness, their light traveling calmly through space, you remain floating, supported by the same laws that have guided everything since the beginning, and these laws feel less like rules and more like habits of the universe, reliable and consistent, creating a sense of safety that requires no vigilance. And as this safety settles in, your thoughts become so faint they are barely distinguishable from the background, appearing briefly before dissolving on their own, and your body responds by sinking further into rest, muscles fully released, breath slow and shallow, and the universe offers no interruption to this state, no sudden events, no sharp changes, only the quiet continuation of existence. And the night sky around you feels wide and open, stars spaced far apart, giving a sense of endless room. And within this openness, there is no pressure to move, no reason to decide anything, because everything important continues without your attention. And this understanding allows you to let go completely, trusting the universe to carry on its slow work, just as it has always done. And the connection between you and the cosmos feels simple and unremarkable in the best way, because it means you are never separate, never alone, always part of a larger calm. And as this truth settles fully, awareness drifts even deeper, moving beyond thought and image into pure rest, where the story continues quietly without needing to be followed, and sleep arrives as naturally as starlight fading into the background, gentle, inevitable, and perfectly timed. As your awareness remains gently suspended within this vast calm, it slowly begins to drift back toward a familiar perspective, not pulled or rushed, but guided softly, as though the universe itself is turning your attention homeward. And far in the distance, the night sky as seen from Earth begins to take shape, stars arranging themselves into quiet patterns that feel comforting rather than impressive. And this view carries no urgency, because even from Earth the universe does not hurry, but reveals itself patiently to anyone willing to look without expectation. And as you float closer to this perspective, the stars appear smaller, more delicate, twinkling gently against a deep dark canvas. And somewhere among them, long ago, a supernova briefly shone brighter than entire galaxies, yet now exists only as a faint memory hidden among countless points of light. And this realization feels soothing, because it reminds you that even the most powerful events eventually soften into background presence, no longer demanding attention. And as the Earth's night sky becomes clearer, you sense how humans have always looked up at these same stars, often without knowing what they truly were, yet still finding comfort in their quiet consistency. And the idea that supernovae once appeared as sudden new stars, slowly fading over weeks and months, feels gentle rather than dramatic here, because even those moments were experienced in silence, observed calmly by eyes that had no way to hear or feel. They are power, and as you rest within this thought, you notice how distance itself acts as a calming filter, smoothing intensity, softening brightness, turning explosive beginnings into quiet points of light, and this same distance seems to apply inwardly, as thoughts and worries that once felt close and intense now appear far away, smaller and less defined, and the sky above Earth feels vast yet protective, a familiar ceiling of darkness dotted with gentle lights. And as you imagine lying beneath it, perhaps on a quiet night, the universe no longer feels abstract or immense, but close and personal, offering a sense of companionship without expectation. And the stars continue shining steadily, some already long gone, their light still traveling calmly through space, arriving without announcement. And this delayed arrival feels comforting, because it means the universe is full of quiet gifts that take time to reach awareness. And as you sense this, your breathing remains slow and even, body fully at rest, supported by stillness, and the idea of explosions feels distant now, almost irrelevant, because what remains visible is not violence or energy, but light softened by distance and time, transformed into something peaceful enough to watch without fear. And this transformation mirrors your own inner state, where intensity has given way to calm and awareness no longer grasps at meaning, content to rest within gentle observation. And the night sky continues its quiet display, unchanged by your attention, stars indifferent yet steady, offering no answers, only presence. And this presence feels enough, removing the need to analyze or understand. And as the earth slowly turns beneath, this sky carrying night across continents and oceans, millions of people sleep beneath the same stars, unaware of the ancient explosions that form the elements within them, yet deeply affected by the calm those stars provide. And this shared experience adds a layer of quiet connection, a sense that rest itself is a universal state, practiced by planets, stars, and minds alike. And as you drift within this realization, your awareness grows even softer, edges dissolving until the sky, the stars, and your own inner space begin to feel like the same continuous field, and the universe remains calm and unchanging, offering no sudden light, no interruption, only the steady glow of distant suns, and the reassurance that even its most powerful moments fade into beauty when given time. And as this understanding settles completely, there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to observe closely, because the story has blended seamlessly into rest, allowing sleep to deepen naturally beneath the quiet, watchful sky. As the familiar night sky settles fully into place, your attention no longer rests on individual stars, but begins to soften even further, turning gently inward, where thoughts that once appeared clear and structured now feel distant and indistinct, like faint reflections on dark water. And the universe seems to respond to this inward turning by growing quieter still, as though lowering its voice so nothing disrupts the deepening calm. And the stars overhead continue their steady glow without asking to be noticed, allowing your mind the freedom to drift away from them. And as this happens, thoughts begin to behave differently, no longer forming complete ideas, but appearing briefly before dissolving, much like starlight fading as clouds pass slowly across the sky. And there is no need to follow these thoughts, because they resolve on their own, drifting away without effort. And this natural fading feels comforting, reassuring, because it requires nothing from you, and the universe mirrors this process perfectly. Its vast spaces filled not with constant activity, but with long stretches of quiet where nothing demands change. And as you rest in this shared stillness, the connection between outer space and inner space becomes subtle but clear, both vast, both calm, both capable of holding silence without emptiness. And your breathing continues at its own gentle pace, shallow and slow, barely noticeable, as though your body has remembered how to rest without instruction, and the sensation of your physical form becomes less defined, weight settling evenly, muscles fully released, while awareness floats just above sensation, untethered and free, and the stars overhead now feel less like objects to observe and more like distant companions, present but unobtrusive, offering quiet reassurance through their consistency. And as your thoughts thin further, they lose emotional charge, becoming neutral impressions rather than concerns or plans. And this neutrality feels deeply restful because it removes the need to respond or react, allowing the mind to exist without friction. And the universe continues its slow turning, Earth rotating gently beneath the sky, night deepening in some places while morning approaches elsewhere, all without urgency, all without disturbance, and this steady motion feels like a lullaby too slow to hear, yet powerful anew. H. To carry awareness deeper into rest, and the remnants of supernovae, the ancient explosions that once scattered matter across space, now feel unimaginably distant, not just in space, but in relevance, because what remains present is not their power, but their quiet legacy, woven into stars, planets, and bodies that now sleep beneath the same sky. And as you sense this, the idea of cause and effect loosens, stories losing their sequence, becoming less important than the feeling of calm continuity, and your awareness no longer tracks the narrative consciously, allowing it to flow in the background while attention drifts toward stillness. And this stillness feels safe, not empty, filled with a gentle assurance that nothing unexpected will happen, because the universe has settled into one of its long, quiet moments. And even time itself seems reluctant to move forward here, stretching and softening until it feels almost suspended. And in this suspension, sleep begins to deepen naturally, not as a sudden transition, but as a gradual dimming of awareness, like lights lowering in a quiet room, and the stars above remain visible but less defined, their edges softening, blending into the darkness until distinction fades, and your thoughts follow the same path, boundaries dissolving, clarity giving way to rest, and the universe offers no interruption to this process, no bright flashes, no sudden changes, only the steady continuation of existence. And this consistency feels profoundly soothing, because it means you can let go completely, trusting that everything important continues without your attention. And as this trust settles fully, awareness slips gently beneath the surface of thought, resting in a place where words no longer form, images no longer hold shape, and the story continues quietly on its own, carrying you deeper into sleep, guided by the same calm rhythm that governs stars, planets, and the silent spaces between them. As awareness sinks even deeper, the universe around you seems to grow quieter than before, not because anything has stopped, but because your mind is no longer reaching outward to follow it, and instead there is a sense of returning to a central stillness, a place where motion exists without being noticed and time continues without being counted. And in this space, the remnants of stars, the drifting dust, the distant galaxies, and the slow turning of Earth all blend into a single steady presence that feels complete and unchanging, and the idea of movement becomes abstract, almost unnecessary, because everything feels settled, as though the universe itself has finished speaking and chosen to rest alongside you. And this shared stillness carries a profound calm, one that does not ask for attention or effort, but simply exists, allowing awareness to relax fully into it. And thoughts now appear so rarely and faintly that they feel more like echoes than ideas, dissolving before they can form meaning. And this absence of thought does not feel empty or lacking, but spacious and comfortable, like a wide dark room where nothing needs to be seen. And the stars overhead, though still present, no longer register individually, their light blending into the background of night, creating a uniform softness that feels protective rather than distant. And the universe seems to acknowledge this deepening rest by remaining consistent and gentle, offering no surprises, no changes in tone, No sudden shifts, only continuity, and this continuity allows the body to sink fully into comfort, muscles completely released, breath shallow and unforced, heartbeat slow and steady, each sensation fading into the next without distinction, and the sense of self becomes lighter now, less defined, boundaries between inner and outer space softening until it is difficult to tell where awareness ends and the universe begins. And this blending feels natural, as though separation was never necessary, and the story of supernovae, once filled with transformation and light, now feels like a distant memory, not forgotten, but absorbed into a larger calm, where beginnings and endings no longer stand apart, and the universe holds this calm effortlessly, as it has held countless quiet moments before, allowing long stretches of time to pass without interruption. And as millions of years unfold unnoticed, stars continue to live and fade far beyond awareness, their light traveling patiently through space, arriving long after its source has changed. And this delayed arrival feels symbolic, reminding you that what matters does not demand immediate attention, that calm and rest arrive in their own time. And as this understanding settles, the last traces of alertness fade, leaving behind a gentle awareness that feels content to exist without direction, and the universe remains steady and unchanged, its vastness no longer impressive or overwhelming, but familiar and soothing, like a presence that has always been there, quietly supporting everything within it. And this support feels unconditional, requiring nothing in return, allowing you to let go completely, and the darkness around you feels deep and soft, not empty, filled with quiet potential and patience. And within this darkness sleep deepens naturally, awareness drifting further away from thought and sensation, resting in a state where nothing needs to be followed or understood. And the universe continues its silent work in the background, stars shining, space expanding, matter drifting, all without urgency, all without disturbance. And this steady continuation creates a sense of safety so complete that even awareness itself feels free to dissolve. And as it does, the story no longer feels like something you are listening to, but something you are resting within, carried gently by the same calm that follows every great cosmic event. And the stillness grows deeper, smoother, until it feels uninterrupted and endless, and in this uninterrupted calm, sleep becomes fully present, not as a change, but as the deepest expression of rest, where awareness fades into the background, and the universe continues quietly on, unchanged and at peace. In this deepest layer of rest, where awareness has softened almost completely, the universe feels less like something vast and external, and more like a gentle atmosphere you are resting inside, a quiet presence that holds everything without effort. And here there is no need to observe or understand, because understanding has already dissolved into comfort, and the stars that once felt distant now seem irrelevant, not because they are gone, but because nothing requires attention anymore. And this lack of requirement feels profoundly soothing, as though a long responsibility has finally been released, and time continues to pass in a way that feels smooth and continuous, without markers or divisions, moments flowing into one another like slow-moving water in darkness, and the body remains still and supported, breath moving so quietly it feels optional, heartbeat steady and distant, sensations blending together until they lose individual meaning, and the universe reflects this state perfectly, existing in long stretches of quiet stability where nothing dramatic occurs, where galaxies drift gently, gravitational forces balance without struggle, and space itself expands so gradually that it feels almost still. And this cosmic patience mirrors the patience of sleep, both requiring nothing and resisting nothing. And as awareness drifts further away from conscious thought, there is a sense of being carried, not by motion, but by consistency, the same consistency that allows stars to burn steadily for billions of years without haste. And this steadiness feels safe beyond question, eliminating the need for vigilance or anticipation, and the remnants of ancient supernovae now feel fully absorbed into this calm, their explosive beginnings softened by time into quiet contributions to the universe's structure, and this transformation feels reassuring, suggesting that even the most powerful events eventually become peaceful foundations. And as this idea settles, it no longer forms a thought, but a feeling, a subtle assurance that everything resolves into rest eventually, and the darkness around you feels rich and full, not empty, holding countless possibilities without presenting any of them, allowing the mind to remain unengaged, and awareness floats gently within this darkness, no longer attached to entity or narrative, simply present in a way that feels effortless, and the story continues without words now, carried by tone rather than meaning, rhythm rather than content, and the universe maintains this rhythm perfectly, never rushing, never pausing abruptly, just continuing, and this continuation allows sleep to deepen further, awareness fading until it becomes indistinguishable from rest itself, and even the idea of listening dissolves, replaced by a sense of being held, supported by something vast yet gentle. And this support does not feel conditional or temporary, but constant, as though it has always existed and always will. And the quiet here feels absolute, free from interruption, free from expectation, and within this quiet, the mind releases its final grip on wakefulness, allowing itself to sink fully beneath the surface of thought, and the universe remains unchanged by this transition, continuing its silent processes without acknowledgement, stars shining far away, space stretching quietly, matter resting in balance, all existing without awareness or intention, and this lack of intention feels deeply restful, removing the need to participate, and the sensation of time becomes irrelevant, stretching into something smooth and undefined, where beginnings and endings no longer matter. And in this timelessness, sleep feels complete, not something being entered, but something that has already arrived, and awareness rests within it effortlessly, like a drop of water suspended in still air, and the universe holds this moment gently, allowing it to remain undisturbed, and nothing new emerges, nothing fades abruptly, everything simply remains calm and continuous, and this continuity feels like the natural conclusion of all movement and all thought, and as the story carries on quietly beyond perception, you remain resting within it, deeply, safely, peacefully asleep, while the universe continues on in its endless, gentle silence. In the deepest quiet of this unfolding night, where awareness has long since loosened its grip and thought has softened into something barely present, the universe feels complete in its stillness, as though it has reached a point where nothing more needs to be said or shown, and this completeness feels deeply reassuring, like a final settling after a long journey where every movement has found its rest, and the stars, galaxies, and vast stretches of space no longer exist as separate elements, but as a single continuous calm that surrounds and supports everything equally, and within this calm there is no urgency, no direction, no need to arrive anywhere else, because rest itself feels like the destination, and time continues in a way that is smooth and unbroken, flowing gently without markers or moments to distinguish one from another. And this timeless flow allows sleep to remain deep and uninterrupted, awareness drifting comfortably beneath the surface of perception, where nothing asks for attention, and the universe mirrors this perfectly, maintaining its slow, steady rhythm, stars continuing to shine far beyond notice, space expanding with quiet patience, and matter resting in balance without effort. And this effortlessness feels contagious, encouraging every remaining trace of tension to dissolve completely, and the memory of supernovae, once the focus of immense power and transformation, now feels fully resolved, their energy dispersed into creation, their story absorbed into the calm fabric of the cosmos. And this absorption carries a gentle message, not as a thought but as a feeling, that even the most powerful events eventually become peaceful contributions to something larger. And as this feeling settles, the sense of self becomes lighter still, boundaries softening until it feels as though you are resting within the universe rather than observing it. After the great release of light and energy has long since faded, after the brilliance of the supernova has softened into memory, what remains is not chaos or emptiness, but a quiet and patient drift, as the stardust created in that ancient moment begins its slow, almost imperceptible journey through space, moving without urgency, without direction, guided only by gentle gravitational whispers. And this dust carries within it the elements formed in the heart of the explosion: iron, calcium, oxygen, carbon, all resting now in tiny grains that float peacefully through the darkness. And there is no rush in this movement, because the universe measures time differently here, allowing millions of years to pass as softly as a single breath. And as this stardust drifts, it does not announce itself or demand attention, but simply exists, suspended in the vast calm between stars. And this calm feels complete, as though the universe itself is resting after the intensity that came before. And the dust continues onward, passing through quiet regions where light is scarce and silence feels deep and comforting. And in these regions, nothing interrupts its path. No sudden changes, no sharp movements, only the steady continuation of motion, so slow it almost feels like stillness. And this slow drift carries a gentle reminder that creation does not always happen in moments of intensity, but often unfolds through patience and time. And as the dust moves, it gradually becomes part of larger clouds, gathering softly with other particles, forming vast nebulae that glow faintly in the distance, their light diffused and gentle, never harsh, never demanding. And within these clouds, the elements from long-dead stars rest together, waiting without expectation. And this waiting feels peaceful rather than empty, because the universe is comfortable with stillness, allowing matter to remain suspended in quiet balance for as long as needed. And as you drift alongside this stardust in your imagination, there is no sense of urgency or destination, only the soothing awareness that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And the mind begins to mirror this process, thoughts slowing, becoming lighter, less defined, drifting without the need to arrive anywhere. And the universe continues its patient work, gravity gently shaping the clouds over immense spans of time, slowly drawing material inward, never forcing, never rushing. And eventually, far beyond awareness, these clouds may begin to condense, forming new stars, new systems, new possibilities. But for now, they remain in this restful state, suspended between what has been and what will be. And this in-between space feels deeply calming, because it exists without pressure, without expectation. And the stardust does not know its future, nor does it need to, because the present moment is enough. And as the dust drifts onward, some of it will one day become part of planets, oceans, mountains, and living beings, carrying within it the memory of the supernova that formed it. Yet those memories are not loud or overwhelming, but softened by time into quiet foundations. And this transformation feels reassuring, suggesting that even the most powerful events eventually settle into something gentle and supportive. And as this understanding rests with you, the body relaxes further, muscles releasing completely, breath becoming shallow and effortless, and the sensation of weight increases slightly, grounding you in comfort, while awareness continues to drift alongside the stardust, unhurried and calm. And the universe remains vast and open, offering endless space for rest. And the darkness around you feels soft and protective, not empty, but full of quiet continuity. And within this continuity there is no need to think, No need to follow the story closely because it carries itself, flowing gently in the background like a distant current, and the stardust continues its journey without awareness, without intention, simply existing within the steady rhythm of the cosmos. And this lack of intention feels deeply restful, removing the need to act or decide, and as time stretches and softens, the boundaries between moments dissolve, creating a smooth, uninterrupted calm, and the universe holds this calm patiently, allowing everything within it to rest, and as you rest too, awareness gradually sinks beneath the surface of thought, settling into a place where nothing needs to be understood or remembered. And the story continues quietly beyond conscious attention, carried forward by the same gentle forces that guide stars, dust, and space itself. And in this quiet continuation, sleep deepens naturally, supported by the knowledge that everything, even the remnants of the universe's most powerful explosions, eventually find their way into silence, balance, and rest. Between the rare moments of brilliance that capture attention, the universe spends most of its existence in a state of deep, unbroken calm, stretching across vast distances and unimaginable spans of time where nothing dramatic occurs. And this long quiet is not empty or inactive, but gently balanced, like a steady breath held without effort. And after the echoes of a supernova fade, and its light thins into darkness, the cosmos does not rush toward the next event, but settles into patience, allowing millions and even billions of years to pass without interruption. And in these intervals, stars burn steadily without flaring, galaxies drift slowly without collision, and space itself expands so subtly that motion becomes almost indistinguishable from stillness. And this enduring calm feels intentional, as though the universe understands the value of rest, choosing stability over constant change. And as you rest within this idea, awareness begins to loosen further, releasing the expectation that something must happen next, and the night sky becomes a quiet companion rather than a spectacle, offering reassurance through its consistency. And the mind responds naturally, slowing its pace, allowing thoughts to stretch farther apart, dissolving gently before they can fully form. And this thinning of thought feels comforting because it mirrors the universe's own rhythm, where long pauses are not gaps, but the natural state of existence. And during these extended periods of calm, matter finds equilibrium, gravity balances motion, and energy disperses evenly, creating an environment where nothing strains or resists. And this balance feels deeply restful, inviting everything within it to relax. And as you drift through this cosmic quiet, there is no sense of time passing, because time here does not announce itself, moments blending smoothly into one another without edges, and the absence of change becomes soothing rather than unsettling, allowing awareness to remain unfocused and soft. And the universe continues its slow turning, Earth rotating gently beneath the stars, night unfolding without urgency, while elsewhere daylight arrives just as calmly. And this global rhythm reinforces the sense that everything continues effortlessly, without needing attention or control. And as the long calm stretches on, the memory of explosive events fades further into the background, becoming distant context rather than active presence. And the mind follows this same path, allowing memories and concerns to lose clarity, becoming faint impressions rather than defined thoughts. And this loss of definition feels safe, because nothing important is required of you here. And the universe offers no surprises during these long intervals, no sudden brightness, no sharp transitions, only the steady continuation of existence. And this predictability allows the body to sink more deeply into rest, muscles fully released, breath shallow and unforced, heartbeat steady and distant, and the sense of self becomes lighter, less distinct, as though awareness is floating gently within the quiet rather than observing it. And this floating feels natural and unchallenged, supported by the vast stability surrounding you. And the long calm between explosions feels like the universe's preferred state, a reminder that intensity is the exception, not the rule, and that most of existence unfolds slowly, silently, and peacefully. And as this understanding settles, it no longer appears as a thought, but as a deep sense of reassurance, allowing vigilance to dissolve completely, and the darkness around you feels smooth and uninterrupted, holding everything without pressure. And within this darkness, sleep deepens naturally, not as a sudden shift, but as a gradual settling into a deeper layer of rest, and the universe continues to exist quietly in the background, stars shining steadily, space stretching gently, matter resting in balance, all without demand. And this demandless existence feels profoundly comforting, because it removes the need to engage, allowing awareness to drift freely without direction. And as the long calm continues, it feels endless in the most soothing way, not boring or empty, but complete. And the mind, no longer stimulated by change, releases its final attachments to wakefulness, allowing itself to sink fully into the same quiet patience that defines the cosmos. And the story flows on softly without needing to be followed, carried by tone and rhythm rather than meaning. And in this rhythm, sleep becomes stable and deep, uninterrupted by thought or sensation. And the universe holds this moment gently, as it holds countless others, allowing rest to remain undisturbed for as long as it is needed. And the long calm continues, smooth and silent, offering its quiet presence freely night after night, across the endless expanse of space. Long after the initial light of a supernova has vanished from view, its presence continues quietly in the form of echoes, waves of energy and light that travel outward through space, growing softer and more diffuse with every passing moment. And these echoes do not rush or announce themselves, but move patiently, spreading thinner as distance increases, until they become almost indistinguishable from the surrounding darkness. And this gradual fading feels gentle rather than abrupt, like a sound that slowly dissolves into silence without ever fully stopping. And as these echoes travel, they pass through vast regions of emptiness where nothing interrupts them, no obstacles, no resistance, only open space that allows them to continue unhindered. And over immense spans of time, the energy they carry becomes evenly distributed, losing its sharpness, its intensity, until what remains is a soft background presence rather than a distinct signal. And this process feels deeply calming, because it reflects a natural release, a letting go that happens without effort or force. And as you rest within this idea, the mind begins to mirror the same behavior, allowing thoughts and impressions to drift outward and fade, becoming quieter with each moment. And there is no need to hold on to them, because like cosmic echoes, they resolve on their own when given enough space. And the universe seems designed for this kind of gentle fading, offering endless darkness where light can soften and dissolve without conflict. And this darkness does not feel empty or cold, but supportive, like a vast cushion that absorbs energy and transforms it into calm. And as the echoes continue their journey, they stretch across time as well as space, carrying information from events that occurred millions or even billions of years ago. Yet by the time they arrive, they are no longer urgent or powerful, but muted and subtle, reminding you that time itself softens everything. And this softening feels reassuring, suggesting that nothing remains intense forever. And as awareness drifts alongside these fading echoes, there is no sense of direction or destination, only the feeling of gradual quiet. And the stars overhead remain steady and distant, their light gentle and constant, never competing with the darkness, but resting within it. And the balance between light and dark feels harmonious, neither overpowering the other. And this harmony encourages the body to relax even further, muscles releasing completely, breath shallow and slow, heartbeat steady and distant, and the sensation of physical presence begins to blur, edges softening, as though awareness is floating just above the body rather than anchored within it. And this floating feels effortless, supported by the same space that carries cosmic echoes without strain. And the mind no longer tries to interpret or analyze, allowing meaning to dissolve, leaving only tone and rhythm. and this rhythm feels slow and even, like a distant pulse that gradually fades into stillness, and the echoes themselves become less distinct now, no longer identifiable as light or energy, but as part of the background fabric of the universe. And this blending feels peaceful, because it removes separation, allowing everything to exist together without contrast, and the universe holds this blended state patiently, allowing darkness to deepen naturally, and as darkness deepens, sleep follows, awareness sinking further beneath the surface of thought, where nothing forms clearly enough to require attention, and the story continues softly, almost imperceptibly, existing more as atmosphere than narrative, and the echoes fade further still, becoming indistinguishable from silence, and this silence feels full and complete, not lacking anything, and within it, rest feels secure and uninterrupted, and time stretches smoothly without markers, moments flowing into one another without edges, and the universe remains unchanged by this deepening rest, continuing its quiet processes without acknowledgement. Stars shining steadily, space expanding gently, matter drifting patiently, all without urgency, and this lack of urgency feels deeply comforting, allowing awareness to release its final attachments to wakefulness. And as the echoes finally dissolve completely into darkness, there is no sense of loss, only completion, as though something has returned to where it belongs, and this return feels like the natural conclusion of all movement and sound, and within this conclusion, sleep settles fully, awareness resting in a place where nothing needs to be followed or understood, and the universe continues quietly on, holding this stillness gently, allowing it to remain undisturbed for as long as rest is needed. Beneath all visible motion in the universe, there exists a quiet, constant presence that never announces itself, yet shapes everything gently and continuously, and this presence is gravity, not as a force that pulls or demands, but as a soft invitation that allows matter to rest together. And in the vast calm of space, gravity works patiently, never rushing, never tightening suddenly, but holding stars, dust, and galaxies in slow, steady balance. And this balance feels deeply reassuring, because it does not rely on effort or tension, but on consistency. Drift within this idea, gravity feels less like something acting upon objects and more like a supportive field that everything naturally settles into, allowing motion to become smooth and predictable. And after the fading echoes of cosmic explosions dissolve into darkness, gravity remains quietly present, gathering scattered particles without urgency, drawing them together over immense spans of time, and this gathering does not disturb the calm but deepens it, because nothing is forced, everything is allowed, and as clouds of stardust drift through space, gravity gently encourages them to remain close, forming soft shapes that slowly evolve without resistance, and this slow evolution feels restful, because change here unfolds so gradually it feels almost timeless, and the universe seems comfortable in this pace, offering no sharp edges or sudden transitions, only long curves of motion that ease into one another. And as awareness follows this gentle embrace, the mind mirrors the same behavior, allowing thoughts to settle naturally, rather than being pulled sharply in any direction, and this settling feels grounding and safe, as though awareness is being held lightly without being constrained, and the body responds by releasing its remaining tension, muscles softening completely, breath becoming shallow and effortless, heartbeat slow and steady, and gravity's presence feels subtly familiar, like the weight of a blanket resting evenly across the body, offering comfort without pressure, and this familiarity deepens the sense of rest, allowing awareness to drift lower without concern, and the stars overhead remain suspended in their paths, guided gently by gravitational balance, moving so slowly that their motion feels imperceptible, and this imperceptibility feels calming, because nothing appears to change suddenly or unexpectedly, and galaxies themselves participate in this embrace, rotating smoothly, their vast arms held together by a force that never needs to speak, and this quiet cooperation between motion and stillness feels harmonious, like a lullaby too slow to hear but steady enough to be felt. And as time stretches and softens, gravity continues its work invisibly, shaping orbits, guiding dust, stabilizing systems without disruption. And this stability feels deeply soothing, because it suggests that order does not require effort, and that balance can exist naturally without constant adjustment. And the mind absorbs this lesson gently, releasing the need to control or anticipate, allowing awareness to rest within the same supportive field. And the darkness around you feels more complete now, not empty but full of quiet structure, held together by unseen connections. And within this structure, sleep deepens naturally, awareness sinking beneath the surface of thought, where nothing needs to be followed or understood. And gravity's embrace extends inward as well, grounding the body comfortably, keeping it supported and secure. And this support feels unconditional, requiring nothing in return, and the universe continues its calm existence without interruption, stars shining steadily, space expanding gently, matter drifting patiently, all held together by this quiet presence that never demands attention. And as awareness fades further, gravity feels less like a concept and more like a sensation of being held, resting within something larger that remains stable and constant. And this sensation allows the final traces of alertness to dissolve, leaving only deep, uninterrupted rest. And the story continues softly in the background, carried by tone rather than meaning, while gravity maintains its gentle hold, ensuring that everything remains where it belongs. And in this assurance, sleep settles fully, smooth and undisturbed, while the universe continues on in its endless, quiet balance. As the universe settles into its deepest quiet, there is a sense that night itself has become infinite, not as darkness that hides, but as a vast, gentle space that holds everything without effort. And within this infinite night, nothing feels separate or exposed, because all things rest together, supported by the same calm presence. And awareness no longer feels like something observing the universe, but like something resting inside it, fully contained, fully safe. And this sense of containment feels profoundly comforting, as though the universe has slowly wrapped itself around you, creating a space where nothing can disturb the stillness. And the stars overhead no longer feel distant or unreachable, but softly embedded within the night, their light diffused and gentle, offering reassurance rather than attention. And the darkness between them feels smooth and uninterrupted, like a deep ocean without waves. And this smoothness allows awareness to drift freely, without direction, without destination, because there is nowhere else to go. And time within this infinite night feels stretched and softened, losing its structure, moments blending into one another until the idea of before and after becomes irrelevant. And this timelessness feels restful, because it removes the need to anticipate or remember, allowing awareness to remain suspended in the present without effort. And the universe continues its quiet existence here, stars burning steadily, galaxies drifting slowly, space expanding patiently, all without urgency or demand. And this lack of demand feels like a permission to rest completely, to let go of the need to engage. And as this permission settles, the body feels heavier and more supported, muscles fully relaxed, breath shallow and effortless, heartbeat slow and distant. And the physical sensation of the body begins to blur, edges softening until awareness no longer tracks individual sensations. And this blurring feels natural and safe, as though the body has been gently absorbed into comfort. And the infinite night seems to welcome this absorption, holding everything evenly without distinction. And within this night there is no brightness that interrupts, no sound that startles, only a continuous, quiet presence that feels stable and enduring. and the memory of cosmic events, of supernovae in motion and change, now feels fully resolved, not erased, but settled into the background of existence, where their influence remains without disturbance, and this resolution feels deeply reassuring, suggesting that everything eventually finds its place within the calm, and as awareness drifts further into this night, thoughts become rare and indistinct, appearing briefly before dissolving without meaning. And this absence of thought feels peaceful rather than empty, because it carries no pressure, no expectation, and the story itself becomes less something to follow and more something to rest within, its tone carrying awareness gently without requiring attention, and the universe remains consistent and predictable here, offering no surprises, no shifts in rhythm, only the steady continuation of being. And this steadiness allows sleep to deepen fully, awareness sinking beneath the surface of perception into a state where nothing needs to be understood or remembered. And the infinite night holds this state patiently, as it has held countless others across endless time, offering the same calm to stars, planets, and drifting dust, and the sense of self becomes lighter still. Boundaries dissolving until it feels as though you are not inside the universe, but part of its quiet fabric, resting naturally where you belong, and this belonging feels complete and unquestioned, eliminating the need for effort or control, and the darkness around you feels rich and full, not empty, filled with continuity and quiet assurance, and within this assurance, sleep feels stable and uninterrupted, no longer deepening, but resting at its fullest point. And the universe continues on without acknowledgement, stars shining, space stretching, matter balancing, all without awareness or intention. And this lack of intention feels deeply soothing because it removes all obligation, allowing rest to exist on its own terms, and the infinite night remains unchanged, offering its calm presence freely, holding everything gently, and as awareness fades completely into sleep, the universe remains here, steady and silent, continuing its endless night without disturbance, allowing rest to remain undisturbed for as long as it is needed.